Hey folks, Mr. Justin here with Secret Weapon Miniatures, and, well, it's not Workbench Wednesday, but it's a start. So I am back at my desk for the first time in a long time. It feels really good to be back. I am here today with some fantastic Dropfleet Commander models, and I am ready to paint them. This is going to be a test of the new camera setup we've got going on, and hopefully with your help, a better test of the hidden environment that we did originally. Of course, first, let me thank you for tuning in. If this is your first time joining, please remember to like, subscribe, click the bells and whistles, all the things you need to do in order to keep up with everything going on here at the Secret Weapon Miniatures home studio. Otherwise, welcome back. For those of you that are longtime viewers, it's great to have you. And, of course, let's sit down to the table and get started. All right, so I have here, let me pull up, since this new one lets me do it. Where's the button? There's the button. Go video, and that pulls that up, and that's, oh, look at that, now I can do the things, and I can put that there. Oh, looks at that, see, things that didn't come up during the initial test, like, hey, make sure the chat box is on top. All right, let me see. I saw the questions come in, and they have disappeared on me, of course. Let's see if those show up again. I saw someone type a couple of questions. They're already hidden. I'll have to work on that setting. But if you have your questions about Dropfleet, oh wait, what ships and what game? There it is. Hey, they finally came back. These are resistance frigates from the game Dropfleet Commander. This set, let me actually show this off. These are great. These are great. Little unboxing vid. So let me pull out the ships that I haven't built yet. Let me pull out one of the cruisers. So the resistance ships are modular. You get a lot of options to customize them. So each of these use parts from the same frames. And I can swap, you can even see here on this one. Let me change that focus foil to it. Should be 10, I'm guessing. Hey, look at that. I know what I'm doing. Look. So you can see, and the connectors are fairly visible on this, but you know, for games played this way, I'm not worried about it. Otherwise, I would have covered it up. But I get to select the fore and aft of the ship. I got to put the cruiser bay on here. All of that is modular, and for the cruisers, it's the same thing. We've got the two halves of the cruiser, but then I get to decide on what its nose looks like, what its thrusters look like. Which weapons, you get to really configure these. So these were great, great choice for me personally. I love them. Of course, I love itty-bitty spaceships. There's nothing, I can't go wrong with teeny tiny spaceships. Enrico, thank you. It is good to be back. Oh my gosh, it is so good to be back. So the first thing I have done, and of course I am showing off Secret Weapon paints today because they're fantastic. I'm going to use Odessa Gold, and I'm going to use some Rebel Yellow today to decorate the noses on these things. Some of the box art shows, well, they're a ragtag crew, generally speaking. Effectively civilian vehicles that pressed into war went out and said, hey, look at all this space wreckage. Let's take all the weapons off of the ships that we can find, and you know what? Let's strap them onto whatever we've got, and hey, look, now we're a vehicle of war. But as much as I love this, we also got an example on the back of the box of some more, well, naval-looking, more polished-looking vehicles. I'm going to combine the two. I'm going to say, hey, this is my ragtag motley crew here, but they're going to have taken the time to, you know, slap some space paint on, I guess. I don't know. I got nothing. Let's see, it does me no good too to put the alert box underneath everything, so let's put the alert box up there. And what else? Okay, that's up there, that's up there, that's up there, that's up there. Woo! Dave wants to know, do I have my trusty Manhattan? No Manhattan today, I'm afraid. There are no Manhattan fixings in the house right now. What I do have is a cut water. And that's all I'll say about that. This is a family-friendly channel after all. So I'm afraid no apple juice for me today, just some sparkling water. Actually, I guess the margarita version of this isn't sparkling, but that's not the point. All right, I've got my trusty airbrush, pew pew, everything was fun setting this up today. So I spent a chunk of the last couple of days setting up the new cameras, getting the new setup you see here with the secret weapon logo, and for this episode, the Dropfleet Commander logo down there and everything, the viewer count, everything. Oh, it was all great, and I spent all the time doing all that, tested it on a canned audience. Everything was great. Went to go live today and realized it wouldn't let me publish to more than one location. Okay, I'm not signed into my pro account. Cool, I'll go to do that. It's under a different login, so all of the work I did went away, and I redo it all today, and I'm testing it all out again. And so for that, what I've done so far is take a bit of the Odessa gold, and airbrush the noses of these things. Oh, looks like I thined it a bit too much. When you do that, and it happens, I'm learning to, kind of learning to paint again in my hometown here. I'm in Sacramento, California, and we are in arid wetlands. So if you think about the Nile Basin, Nile River Basin, that's kind of what we are. Lots of swamp along the river, desert outside of that. We routinely get 115, 120 degree summers, so that's like 46 degrees in maple syrup degrees. And actually, you know what? For this base coat, I'm actually just gonna paint this on. I forget sometimes that I'm working with itty bitty teeny tiny spaceships. So let's go ahead and clean off this airbrush. I don't need that. I don't need that. I'm just gonna go. Look at that. Nice thin coat of Odessa gold. But anyway, I've been learning to paint again because things like these little ships here, I took them out to the garage, which is still insulated from when Secret Weapon Miniatures was based out of there. Doesn't have a heat pump out there to keep it properly regulated, but it's still insulated. So it's 110 today, but it can't be more than 80 in the shop. But it's so humid in Sacramento now that I'm not used to it. It used to be when I was younger, and this is great because I have one of those, when I was a kid stories. But Sacramento would get so dry that in the summer, before we'd go outside a lot of the time, you'd take Vaseline, petroleum jelly, and stick it all up inside your nose so that your nose wouldn't bleed after being outside and playing for a little while. Because otherwise you'd be running around outside and it's so dry that very quickly you'd wind up with a nosebleed. And I haven't had to do that. My kid will never know what that's like. I haven't had to do that in years. But it seems like every year the summers get more humid. And so I'm having to relearn some of my paint habits. I've always taken for granted that I can take a rattle can out to the garage and use it whenever. And that's simply not true anymore. Put down a coat on these things and it was gummy. A couple hours later, blow dried it, hit it with another coat. Same issue, had to bring it in, hit it with some matte, blow dry it. And go, all right. I live somewhere swampy now. This is going to be interesting. So I'm just hitting it a little bit of air now. Speed up the evaporation process. I know it's always fun to come in and watch paint dry, but well, these finished drying, I'm going to take some Ground Forces Gray. I'm going to thin that out a bit. Where my other gray is right here. All right. Let's see. Also going to come in a little bit with some of the black gray and the Federation slate. But first, let's get some of the Ground Forces gray over here. And drops of that. Close this up. A reminder that if your bottle isn't pouring, use a needle instead of trying to squeeze. Otherwise, you just wind up with paint everywhere and you'll be sad. Add a little water to this. Mix that up. Okay. Got my Federation Gray mixed up. I'm going to check these. Still a little damp. Alright, before I move on, reach into my drawer here, get a handy dandy piece of pluck foam! Plucky foam! It's foam, it's plucky. It's foam. Using the Rebel Yellow now. Make a little puddle of that. Grab some Rebel Yellow on my sponges here. Spongy, spongy, spongy. Remember that I'm supposed to be careful of the camera. So the last thing I need to solve is the document stand here. The monitor is wall mounted and the camera attaches to that now, so we're pretty well taken care of there. But I still have this camera on the desk, which means that anytime I shuffle or futz, I should put that on D&D. Things you remember after, you know, like taking a year off or something. That's the last problem to solve. It's nice to be down to one little thing. So one of the true things about my desk is that I generally have tape on my desk, on the cabinets next to me, on any surface where I can store tape for a project. And I love this, by the way. I love the color of the Rebel Yellow. It turns out so vibrant. I mean, I'm biased, 100% biased, but it's great. All right. Anyway, so I have, let's see, I have big blocks. Oh, hey, look, this one's already cut. Let's see what this one cuts into. What do you, get off my table. What do you look like? All right, I've got a strip that looks like this. Okay, it's scrap. It was an edge to something. All right, because you can tell it's not even. That's fine. I don't mind. 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 I'm gonna go. Let's make it a little more uniform, like so. I don't need that much tape on both sides. I don't want to waste my tape. Cut that to shape in a minute. And then I'm going to do another stripe right here. Oh yeah. Can't stop me. Boom. So I'm just breaking these at the moment. But I'll go ahead and cut to make it a little more uniform. Wasting tape again. Just can't wait to waste that tape again. It's making noises at me. Why are you making noises at me? Probably saying, "Dear Justin, you are singing copyrighted material. Knock that off or we'll have to stop your broadcast." Okay. And actually, I'm not even going to trim these because I'm just going to come back and have, I'm going to tidy things up with a brush to do my multiple grays. So it won't matter. I'll just take the spots where I didn't want to leave it, say, white in this case, and I'll hit that by hand. So for the moment, go. And I like that. Let's maybe be a little lazy. There's a Dropfleet, I don't have a lot of excuses because, one, the models are fantastic and I want to put time into them. There's a little color test for me, and two, I don't have to have a huge army, so it's not a lot of excuse for me to fall on this end. But we're gonna get started. I've got time. I'm getting my feet wet, learning the system, convincing the family. Not a lot of miniatures games fly in this house unless I can get at least one other member of the household interested in. Dropfleet is one that has everybody. Alright, so this is the... I'm trying to use Foundation Gray? Or Ground Forces Gray, sorry. It's the Foundation Slate that I'm using later. So this is Ground Forces Gray, and I'm just giving a light base coat over everything. It's going to mask those yellow sections for me. But I want all of my spaceship to be a very medium gray. I know there are people out there saying, "Listen, why don't you just freehand the yellow stripes?" And that's because I don't do a great job of freehanding stripes. So for me, this is a faster, easier way to do it. I know that plenty of painters are going to have an easier time if you just pop over and you lay on some designs. We can't all be Jim Wapple, no matter how many socks we're wearing. Speaking of people I miss from conventions. And all of you, of course. Just like earlier, a little too thin this time. I'm not accustomed to the humidity in the air here, so having to relearn habits. It's always one of those things I'd remember if I went to teach classes or do a show or something on the East Coast during the summer, say Nova Open. I would remember for those airbrushing classes especially, go a little early, get a little practice with an inline moisture trap, which I've never had to deal with in California, and practice getting into the habit of releasing moisture and things like that, which, yeah, I'm totally going to have to start doing in Sacramento now. Alright, so just about have these base coated. Who's that? Robert has liked the stream. Wait a minute, let's move this thing up a bit. It's oh, no, not that. Ah! That should be locked. Alert box. Ah, I did it again. No, okay. And that alert box. It's not going to move. Well, that's good enough for now then, because I'm not going to burn too much time while we're live on this. Oh, you know what? It's locked. That's why. There you go. Cool. Now it'll work. Yay. See, it's all the little problem solving that happens before Workbench Wednesday goes live again. Going to be tackling more of your questions, I hope. More of the things you folks want to see. Now I'll be showing off secret weapon product like mad as I get back to this. But I might want to paint the bottoms a little bit. My spaceships don't need white booties. Hey, Travis, thanks for joining. It's good to see you on a stream again. Having some fun here with some Dropfleet Commander ships. Just getting the hang of the new cameras and new layout and making sure all the settings are working properly this time. I figured I got everything working last time on a little hidden stream. And then today found out that when I went to go live, I was logged into the wrong account on the software. And when I logged into the correct account, of course, all the settings that I had done yesterday were gone. So, decided, well, rather than do another secret streamy thing, I'll jump right in with something live and say hi to folks and solve problems on the fly. And I'm just hitting this with air now to speed up the evaporation process. Alright, so let's take my strike carrier here and pull off some stripy panels. There we go. My yellow stripes. And what I'll do is come in and hit everything. There we go. Do all the panels by hand, but this way I have a nice unified force. So once I get them on their stands and they're all standing around, my ragtag motley crew is coming right for you. And I should have, did I take it all already? Engine metal, engine grime, I did. So the next step for me is going to be mixing up, or not mixing up, shaking up my engine grime. This is from the weathering line. And I'm going to put some, oh, see, another pot plugged up. Remember, squeezing is the bad thing to do. You want to poke a needle on it there. All right, I've got my engine grime. I've got a fine tip brush. Make it a wash. And I'm going to come in here and hit panel lines. Toss that brush. That's how my kit has handled that at some point. Like, wait, it's all stiff. Alright. So I'm just going to do a full body wash on these, in fact. Help me pull out some detail. And I could do this with my oils, but I don't want to go through the time and the hassle. It's not a lot more work, but it's more work. Okay, let me get a larger brush in here. Just a little bit of a dry brush. There we go. Not that I had paint on here to dry brush with, but I mean the brush was dry and I was rubbing it across there. You have actually great timing, Travis. I happened to be talking to the fellows at Tabletop Combat the other day about Dropfleet. And they asked about you specifically. I said, hey, I know you did some work with Simon. Did you ever know Travis? I'm like, heck yeah, of course. Yeah, he's good people. Yeah, he is. So you still have friends and fans in Europe, I should say. I mean, everybody likes Travis. He's Travis. And if you guys don't know, oh my God, you should. He's great. Good people. All right. Looks like I might not have given my base coat enough time to dry, so some of that yellow is chippy there, and I'll fix that later. So for now, back to my wash. Ooh, remembering that, right, I have not put the dock cam on a different stand yet. course, at this point, I have mostly playable ships. I love the detail they've gotten on here. That makes it easy to get a good-looking model just with a quick wash and dry brush. We're going to take it a little further than that, of course. But if, like me, you find yourself often pressed for time to paint the models the way you want to for a game you want to play, I really enjoy kits like this where you can get a good result with only a little bit of effort. There's the strike carrier. See, they're already looking good. Go. Now I'll be able to come back in too with some of the ground forces gray. Yeah, Lewis, exactly, Travis, yeah. Just talking to Lewis, Louie, and a couple of others. I'm not saying there might be another edition of this coming, but I know some guys that consult on games, and anyway, that's all I'm going to say about that. Yeah, this one, I definitely lost some of that base coat up here from some aggressive rubbing too soon, but I'll fix that. I'll just do the gray with some freehand later. But on these guys, looks like I've got some good coverage. And that was the engine grime, just applied as an even thinner wash than it comes out, because it comes out nice and thin to begin with, the engine grime does. And it's this one. Alright, so let me get rid of engine grime and my dust gold pots here, because I won't need those right now. But these are wet, and rather than bust out the blow dryer and hit that, I'm going to say, since nobody has said anything yet, that this is a successful test, and I am going to be ready for Workbench Wednesday. The current plan, for those of you that have enjoyed shows in the past, Mondays I'm going to be doing a product highlight, Wednesdays I'm going to be doing Workbench Wednesday, and hopefully once that gets into a good pace, start throwing in a Friday show as well. Yeah, there's going to be a lot more going on, at least that's the plan, as things get back to a new normal for Secret Weapon. And, of course, hopefully with you folks, too. In the meantime, it's been great having you. It has been wonderful being, back at the desk again, painting little ships, teeny tiny ships, tinyspaceships.com, forever, a milliontinyspaceshipsforever.com. I love them. So I've got the start of my ships. Might as well put these back since I'm still playing with them. We've got the start of the ships. So my little hammerhead frigate here. And you can tell they're definitely still wet. The strike carrier. Everybody with missiles. And the heavy frigate. With 2 missiles. So I will be back. Wrong click there. I will be back Wednesday with, actually Monday with a product highlight. In fact, I should pull that back. This is something folks haven't seen in a while because, man, it has been a while. I will be back both with the Rust art piece and the You Asked For It, You've Got It Stomp-A-Belly. And I know I've got a request to do worn leather, which is why this one was blocked off a long time ago. So I'm going to be using the Tire Black trilogy of paints, trio of paints, to do some worn leather over there. Show folks how I do that on my worn leather. At least one of the techniques I use for that. And of course, we've already showed off in the past some of the engine fluid, the copper, and some verdigris, both the paint and the pigment. Different ways to do paint shipping with some of the greens that we've got. Yeah, so it'll be great to come back and take the demo product checks, get them back on the table, show you guys some fun stuff. So as always, if there's anything that you guys want to see, if there's a question you want to see done in video or addressed in video, please let me know. Leave a comment, send an email, message, something. But the best part of Workbench Wednesday is making sure that your questions get answered, and then I'm showing you the techniques that I can share. And of course, if I don't know how to do it, either we'll figure it out together or I'll ask someone that knows what they're doing. But it's good to be back. I really feel good about this. It's great, and I look forward to doing some Dropfleet Commander with you guys, building up my fleet of resistance ships. And yeah, thanks for tuning in. Until next time, happy hobbying from everyone at Secret Weapon. Cheers.